Well, hello, Glory City West leadership team. So disappointed that I couldn't be with you tonight, but as you can see, I'm just about to be flying off to England. We have quite a packed itinerary over there, and actually received quite a few words from the Lord that the area that we're going into, Basingstoke, is that the Lord is really starting to do some significant things over there. And you know, with some of the churches actually in a region that is very close to there, they have just seen thousands of people. I think one church in particular has seen like 2,000 people that have given their hearts to the Lord. And so I believe that the harvest is so ready and the harvest is so ripe, and I believe we're going to start to see that kind of thing in Ipswich. And one of the things I'm going to share as well is about preparing for the harvest and really praying into that. So if you could be praying for me and for Candace and for Eliana for this trip, just really believe that it's going to be significant. And obviously Abby and Rod and Fred and Christine are going to be with you. And so it's going to be a great 3 weeks coming up. So just wanted to talk just shortly about culture. And I believe that, you know, in Glory City West, and really the culture that Pastor Fred and Christine have been pioneering, along with Grant and many of the team that will be here tonight, that there's been it's a supernatural culture. It's a culture of love. It's a culture of evangelism. It's a culture of reaching out to the community. These are our cultural aspects that I just think are so powerful. And and I look at the culture in Brisbane and how there's been this beautiful merger of the two cultures and the attributes, basically taking the best of both worlds to kind of have a hybrid super culture. And so that's the thing about family, is it's, you know, we share a DNA, a common DNA. But the culture, I believe that the Lord is taking us into the next stage of intentionality when it comes to culture. And I think that we'll see, you know, in the next couple of years that there's going to be a continual transition for the the culture that the Lord is establishing, not only in just Glory City West, but Glory City Brisbane and the network as a whole. But a couple of things just to share about culture. I've heard this quote that says, "Culture eats strategy for lunch." When you're learning a new culture, let's say, for instance, when I went to China when I was 5.5 years old, as a young kid, it's quite easy to assimilate into a culture. But if you're coming from a different cultural background, oftentimes there's an intentionality. Sometimes a new culture can be uncomfortable to begin to transition into. Let's say if you're starting to learn a new language, starting to understand how different things are working. So when you're in the initial stages, intentionality is important. But when intentionality actually becomes culture, it's an incredibly natural thing. And one of the things I had written there, the ease of assimilation into a culture has two factors. So when people are joining the church, there's two major factors that I can see when it comes to culture, and that is the potency that the individuals carry of that culture, and also the percentage of how the congregation is carrying that. Now let me explain that. Let's say in pretty much every church that I've been to, there's always a handful of people that are passionate for Jesus. And I've even seen where there's a church culture where people are just, they haven't been too passionate about Jesus. But if you add one person that is carrying, let me call it this way, the temperature that they're carrying of their passion for Jesus actually can affect an entire room full of people. I think my cousin was a great illustration. He was at another church, and just because of him, he wasn't even in leadership or anything like that, but the way that he worshiped and the way that he was passionate about Jesus and he would be sharing with other people, it actually changed the temperature. So in one case, the culture that we are carrying as leaders, and the love culture, the evangelism culture, the discipleship culture, if we can continue to not just be at the level, it's easy to remain in the culture that is normal for us, but to be able to take it to the next level of intentionality and saying we are really going to just put our lives on display and train others how to imitate the culture that we really want to model. And so the other thing is the percentage of people that's involved in the potency. So when you have one person that's fully passionate for Jesus, it can shift a culture, but it will be challenging and it will take a longer period of time. But the more people that are modeling the culture that we're wanting to step into, the easier that it is. And I just want to give an illustration with regards to worship. And one of the things that we talk about quite often, and I don't know if if people realize the power